We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. They always have been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto Live. My name is T.A. Tim. I'm your host for today. It is Tuesday, July 19th, and we got a great show lined up for you guys. Ethereum continues to roar through the crypto market, kind of leading the way. You know, we've talked about in previous shows an altcoin engine, and it's kind of the concept of we've had a lot of different people take the lead. We've seen Solana take the lead. We've seen Cardano take the lead. This time it is Ethereum's turn, and we're going to discuss all of that and more. By the way, no hat today. Some of you guys like it, but I'm getting a haircut this afternoon. So come back tomorrow to see short-haired Tim. We'll see. If I don't like the haircut, I might put a hat back on. Anyway, we're going to jump into a lot of crypto, TA, and informational news in just a minute. But first, I got to welcome two of my favorite people in the entire universe. I'm joined at my right by T-Shroom, the other side of T Squared, as we are now known, as our co-hosting. And in front of me is the Turtle King himself, Ol Smay. How are you boys doing this morning?
Better than we deserve, Tim.
Ooh, way to respond for him, yes.
He spoke on my behalf.
Yeah. Do you want to, combat that and say, are you doing worse than you deserve?
I would like to sing a song to
Yes.
the crypto market.
Yes, let's do it.
Fly me to the moon, give me lots of gains today.
Ooh, beautiful.
I want to see what Lambos are like in the heat of May.
The land of Smay?
The land of
Would've
Smay.
The land of
I could have said that.
Oh,
Dang
goodness.
it. All right.
Well, if that wasn't enough to make you smash the like buttons, go ahead and do it anyway.
I gotta say, I'm doing fantastic, and I would love to read some green names.
Let's get back on the green names. Are you gonna sing those as well this morning, or today a talking out day?
Adam Rorick and Stinky Nerd, Elliot Locke and Mitch Shaw,
Wow.
Gia S and Crypto Sec Guy, and Sultan of Salt, and Colin McDonald, and Grand Roofing Incorporated, and Go CJC. And who else do we have for me?
Your favorite guy just in the chat.
Mac and Christopher McFarlane. And then we got D's Nuts and Red Guy.
Good stuff.
And Mitch.
Wow.
Anyways.
Wow.
Back to you, Tim.
Not financial advice.
It's a good. Yeah, that was not financial advice, by the way. Goodness gracious. It is
that was not financial advice, in fact.
It's going to be a fun day. For anyone asking where Jebb is out once again. And again, I'm going to let him answer that reason as to why when he comes back, because it is his information. But continue to be praying for him and his family. We're going to have a fun day today. Before we jump in and we get into all of the news that has come out here within the last little bit, some of this news is maybe older than 24 hours. Some of it is newer than 24 hours. But I want to first let you guys know that we are brought to you today by Lux Algo. You guys know that we love Lux Algo here at Crypto Jebb. So as far as even giving a pitch for it, I mean, there's really, what can I say? Go to my screen real quick, Smay. Lux Algo, for those who don't know, is a phenomenal indicator on technical analysis where literally all the time they're coming with updates. I was actually just talking the other day to Sean Mack, who's the CEO of Lux Algo, and him and I we're going to start doing a once-a-month webinar where we let you guys know all of the updates. Well, it's not going to be once a month. Let me correct myself. When there's updates, because they don't always give updates every single month, but we're going to update you guys on everything that's happening. In case you haven't seen it recently, one of the coolest, newest updates are these take profit and stop loss sections on Lux Algo. It's kind of become like this cheat sheet for traders. If you don't have it, you definitely want to add it to your trading toolkit today. There's a link in the description down below. Go get Lux Algo. Also, shout out to that entire team over there because, again, they are building phenomenal tools over there on TradingView. You don't want to miss it out. Go ahead and check them out. With that being said, smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you are new here. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto Live, the morning show every 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. We come and give you guys everything you need to know about the markets and what you need to know in the news and on the charts to be able to make good investment decisions for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and throw it to T-Shroom. I'm going to let T-Shroom run our market pulse this morning. What is happening over in the cryptoverse according to T-Shroom?
Yes. We are going to have a very, very good market pulse. We're going to start it off. If you go to my screen, Smith, we're going to start off with the CME futures that are still showing that more likely than not, we're going to have a 50 basis point hike. I still firmly believe that we are going to have a 75 basis point hike. I think that these numbers here are still, just the result of it's a market. These CME futures are a market, and they get traded up and down just like any other market, and they're not necessarily perfectly predictive at this point. But that's what they're showing right now. Moving on into some of our headlines here to cover is Celsius lays out mining-focused reorganization plan at first bankruptcy hearing. So this is a bankruptcy hearing specifically for Celsius's mining wing, but they do get into the details of the parent company as well. And we'll just kind of start off our inquiry here. Crypto lender Celsius has 500,000 creditors owed more than $50 billion. So that's quite a big figure that this initial court hearing is kind of laying out. And then if we read further, breaking down the Celsius's bad debt, leading up to declaring bankruptcy, Celsius saw its digital asset holdings dwindle to mere $1.7 billion as of July 14th, down from $14.6 billion since the end of March. Celsius also holds $170 million in cash held in a bank, but the rest of the assets are tied up in mining equipment to the tune of $720 million, as well as outstanding loans to the tune of $620 million and other assets. Those other assets are represented by $450 million. And it also talks about the Cell token, but it's so ambiguous how that's even quantified that I'm not going to try to cover it. But like I said, we covered those figures up here. That 1.7 billion number is really kind of what they're holding at this point. That's what their book is reflecting, which is really, really, really low. This article details all of the balance sheet, but then there's one last thing that I thought was important, which is that the second hearing in Celsius's bankruptcy proceedings will be held remotely on the morning of August 10th. So if you are heavily into Celsius, first of all, I'm really, really sorry there. It's going to be rough. Make sure that you're taking the necessary precautions. I'm sure you already have at this point, but you can also tune in remotely on August 10th, not here, but you can look that up and see exactly where those proceedings will be aired. So moving on, we've got another headline.
Before we move on with Celsius, the other thing is, there's also the breaking news, not breaking news necessarily, but Celsius lawyers are continuing to throw all of the owners under the bus with that classic, which, by the way, they are correct when they say not your keys, not your crypto. But this is just a whole new thing. If any of you were thinking to hold out for Celsius, if any of you were thinking, let me hold out, get my money back, and then maybe I'll stay around if they promise me some really good stuff here in the future, please, 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 if you had money wrapped up in Celsius, get that money as soon as possible whenever they give it back to you, because I know they still are working on that, and run away from them at as fast a mile per hour as you can run, because this is just the more and more that comes out about this whole organization and from the top down, this is just not a business I think anyone should ever trust ever again. Even though that's true, not your keys, not your crypto, the fact that they are now blaming and throwing all of you guys that are invested in them under the bus is absolutely terrible and unforgivable. I don't think anyone should be continuing to hold their money on Celsius as soon as they get it back. But yeah, we can go ahead and keep going on. Just wanted to throw that one in there.
No, absolutely. So we've got another interesting. And before we go to my screen, keep in mind with this story, we're highlighting this because of the timing, because of the FUD timing. So I'll go ahead and dive into that one right now. So the billionaire brokerage pioneer warns chances are high Bitcoin will be worthless. We're covering this for a reason. Make sure you understand that, and we're not just throwing this at you to spread fear. We're trying to observe the fear and take something away from it. I think chances are this is a quote, I think chances are very high that Bitcoin will become worthless or outlawed at some point, Peter Fee said. He believes that the federal government of the United States may try to outlaw cryptocurrencies because they provide financing for illegal activities, as well as the U.S. Treasury Department inability to control or keep track of payments and collect taxes, which is an argument from around 2018, right? This is the fact that crypto facilitates illegal activities. It's true. There's been studies done to show that that fiat currency facilitates a multiple of the illicit activities that crypto does. So this is an old kind of tattered, worn out argument that's being trotted out. So if you're seeing that in the news, don't be overly fearful. This is something that's, and you're going to see here in a minute. This is something that is just being trotted out to try and make people panic sell. It's not that Peter Fee has completely given up on digital assets yet. He maintains his belief that there is a possibility that Bitcoin may become quite valuable in the future. Because of this, he continues to keep some Bitcoin and intends to acquire more if the price reaches 12,000. So he has a very similar strategy to mainstream crypto investors. And yet he's coming out and kind of really poo-pooing it and saying it could go to zero or potentially be outlawed. The government of the United States has not gone anywhere toward outlawing Bitcoin in crypto. There's a few stable coins and some privacy coins that they have, definitely been vocal about their displeasure. But in terms of the mainstream major cryptos, that's not the case. They're not thinking about banning it. So he's off the mark there. But again, we're just trying to highlight the fact that this article is just trying to spread FUD. And when you're scanning through the news and understanding crypto more and more and getting educated, don't be put off by articles like this. But he does make kind of an interesting point here at the end, and this is Peter Fee. He's the leader of this investment firm, and he says, "I do not believe the Fed will follow through on its do what it takes promise to bring down inflation because they are afraid of destroying the economy and exploding debt issues," he says. "Instead, the Fed will cap benchmark rates at around 4%. And as a result, inflation will hover around 6% for the next several years. There will be stagflation for a while," he predicts. So, Tim, I want to throw it to you. What do you think about that economic prediction from Peter Fee? And what do you think that, does it have any truth? Or is he just kind of, is that an unlikely result?
Well, I think it's interesting because his date, it's a bit ahead of what I think other people have kind of predicted as far as the crypto market. I know you guys have seen a lot of people, myself included, talk about how November is a very interesting looking month, November of 2022 to be clear, because I've seen other people start talking about 2023 and 2024 as being the bottom. But I do think November of 2022 is an interesting place to be looking at a potential bottom. And there's so many reasons for that. So I'm not going to get into all of that right here in this video. You can go back and watch some previous videos where we talked about that. So him saying October for the bottom of the S&P 500 and then the equities market start rebounding is kind of, I don't know what his rationale and all of his reasons are. From what I was talking with you, T-Shroom, you made it sound like that's a pretty popular opinion in the more financial sector. But I know in the crypto sector, that is a month and a timeline that a lot of people in the crypto space are looking at for a potential bottom. We will see, but I do think it's interesting that we talked about this before on this channel. And when I was on, what was I on? I was on Nick Dye's Debate Crypto here last week, and we talked about that as well, how it's actually kind of, it's really cool and funny how most people in the space are coming to similar numbers and similar timelines, all with completely different rationale. So I do think, nothing's a sure thing. Something can change the crypto space overnight, just like that. But at this point, I think that even more evidence and more confluence of that timeline is coming out from even the financial sector. I do think we're looking at this fall, late fall, being the turnaround point where we're going to start seeing things get a little bit more interesting.
Yep, absolutely. And if you go back to my screen, I'll show you our final headline in the Market Pulse. And this is stablecoin provider Circle eyes public listing in Q4 of this year, and that's from their CFO. So the parts that I found really important in this article were that Circle's CFO, Jeremy Fox, said the firm is a registered financial services company, just like PayPal or Apple. Circle Yield, the firm's interest-earning product, is regulated by the Bermuda Monetary Authority, and Fox Green expects Circle to go public via a SPAC deal at the end of 2022. So in case you don't know, Circle is the company behind one of the biggest stable coins that is out there, which is USDC, market cap $54 billion. And it is going public. Is this the first stablecoin company that has gone public, Tim, to your knowledge?
That's actually something I don't know. That one is not one I follow.
Binance is not public. So I think this might be the first of its kind, which would be really, really interesting. So that wraps up our market pulse. But before we leave that, I wanted to give you quickly the results of the EU core inflation has ticked lower by 0.1% from 3.8 to 3.7. And that met the forecast of what the ECB, of what the EU was anticipating their core inflation to be. So that's different from headline inflation, but that is their core inflation, which is very, very interesting. Some upcoming dates: the UK year-over-year inflation is coming out tomorrow. That is their headline inflation, and then the ECB rate decision is Thursday of this week. But going back to that EU core inflation ticking lower, that would indicate that if the EU market is anything like the US market right now, that the US market may actually be kind of at a top, and that possibly we just had one more month of increased inflation than they did. This also could be a false signal. This, just could be a moment, a respite for the inflation rate in the EU, and it's going to continue higher. We shall see. But Tim, did you have any thoughts on the international inflation figures there?
No, I mean, I want to see that stuff continue to come out because, of course, that is going to have a lot to do with the DXY, the US dollar, and then, of course, what crypto does, because it has been working very, very much in the opposite direction. So this is all numbers and facts that we got to keep our eyes on as they develop. But, yeah, for now, that's all I got on that.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, that will conclude our market pulse. So,
awesome.
Tim, take it away.
Awesome. Great job, T-Shroom. Give it up for T-Shroom. He is, thank you. There we go. Sometimes it's hard when you're shooting YouTube videos in a small space and you got 900 people watching you to really, really get that feed. In high school, I did public speaking. I did speech and debate tournaments where you could kind of get a feel back from the audience. This makes it a little bit more difficult, but we're going to go ahead and transition into some TA. And I have been seeing multiple comments over the last couple of videos kind of asking, hey, can we do a couple more coins of technical analysis other than just Bitcoin? And you know what? The people have spoken. Today, I'm going to do the best I can to get through multiple coins. We're definitely going to start with fan favorites in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then if I can, I want to get into some maybe Cardano XRP, maybe some Solana. So we're not going to go crazy in depth. We're going to view the charts. And then in the discussion section, we are going to be going deeper into Ethereum because it is the biggest one. But let's go ahead and jump over onto the charts. I already showed you this on Luxalgo when I talked about it here just a little bit ago. But in case you didn't notice when I was on my screen, Luxalgo on the daily chart just had a buy signal flash yesterday. In case you did not know, we have been under a sell signal all the way back here since April. And so this coming true, we don't have a green trend catcher yet, so that is something that I am waiting on. We do not have a green candle yet, so that is something we are waiting on. But in the development of those, you guys have noticed this trend catcher, it's really hard because I have some red lines drawn right there, so stay with me right here. This red line right here, that's the trend catcher on Luxalgo. We have been below it. We have not crossed above it ever since this massive red candle back here on June 13th. That was during that whole fallout with Luna, I believe, is the timeline on that one. Anyway, you guys are seeing in the last 2 days, both days we have wicked above that trend catcher. And so while we are below it right now, these purple candles are a sign of indecision. That trend catcher being taken back after not being there for over 2 months now is, I guess it's 2 months, month and a half. Let's call it a month. There we go. We'll call it a month. The fact that we're starting to take that back over along with this buy signal, also, like I told you guys, this take profit is calling for potentially as low as 26 and as high as 31. You guys can see that kind of fits with what I talked about yesterday, this yellow box. If we can break through 23,000, which we are super close with that wick, by the way, if we can break through 23,000, not saying that teens are not still on the table. I do think, we got a long summer and a little bit of fall, I think, before we really start to see true bullish momentum come back. It would not be impossible or improbable for us to rally up to about 30,000 or so, then drop back down in those teens. That's how bear markets work. We are in one, but right now I do think there are some good signs on Bitcoin. But I do want to start by letting you guys know, because I was asked this yesterday over on my Twitter. If you're not following me, go follow me over there at Tims_TA, someone asked me, hey, so where we're playing out, is this now too far to be a bear flag? So pretty much there's this thing with bear flags, in case you guys are wondering what that is. Right here is this flagpole, and what we're creating with these two lines is the flag itself. There is such a thing as when you go a little bit too far, it's almost like you kind of make the flag imbalance. If you go too far in this flag, you end up canceling it out. But unfortunately, that is not yet there yet. As much as it is now starting to become a very large flag, it's still very possible that we end up taking this flagpole. And again, if we don't break through that 23,000, which I do think that there's a decent chance we could, especially seeing as that we have over a week before we hear that Fed news. And at this point, like T-Shroom showed you guys, the Fed is still at this point looking like it's leaning towards that 50 basis point. If we were to play out, let's say this was the peak right here, we would go down, instead of that 12,500 we talked about because of that peak right there, we would go down here to around 13,000. Now, it still could go lower than that, but that's just what a bear flag would play out. So I'm not going to ignore that. I'm going to keep you guys posted on what's happening there. But if this price does break through 23,000 and breaks through this ascending level of resistance, then we could potentially talk about this bear flag being canceled out. We didn't do it back here where you guys are going to see we had a bear flag posted right here, and this is on the daily chart, so it's going to be a little bit different, but give or take, there's a close right here on the 4-hourly chart. You can kind of put these lines right about here. We had a bear flag right here. We ended up going pretty far into and then breaking. We also had a massive bear flag back here where it's a little easier to see even with just your normal eyeballs right there where we had our bear flag. Here, starting from that all-time high back at 69,000. Again, the flag got pretty far out there, and there was discussion around this peak. Hey, have we gone too far for this to be considered a bear flag? Well, no, we hadn't. They're still definitely in play. And by the way, just so you guys know, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about Bitcoin before we move on to Ethereum. That bear flag right there, that is also kind of that let's call it confluence of thought with technical analysis that we could see those lower teens. This bear flag has not fully played out, especially if you go down to the linear chart, which I tell you guys all the time. As much as I love the log chart, it is good from time to time to go ahead and use the linear chart as well. If I play this out to the didn't grab the pole. There we go. Grab that pole and come down here. That's also going to give us a price right there around 12,000, 13,000. So we still have those two large things with two different bear flags, one major, one minor, calling for that $13,000 price. But like I said, in the next couple of days, if we can rally the bulls and get above that level, maybe there's a shot of at least avoiding those numbers for the foreseeable couple of weeks, maybe even months. That being said, let's go ahead and transition to Ethereum. And of course, Ethereum is the big dog of this last week with the combination. We're going to talk more about this here in just a little bit. With that combination of that Matic news with Disney, with the combination of the merge coming out here recently, Ethereum has gained over, now it's back down, but at that top of that wick, 60% within the last 6 days. This is really big. And as we talked about kind of in that intro, altcoins have kind of had this altcoin engine. And specifically, even though Bitcoin's not an altcoin, we've talked about this on this channel, that Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, even though those are not ranked the top 3 coins, I do believe in the crypto space, those are the 3 that really garner a lot of people's attention. They kind of take turns weaving who's leading the charge. We've seen Cardano lead that charge in the last couple of weeks, whereas when everything else seemed to drop right here back in about the beginning/middle of June, Ethereum dropped, Bitcoin dropped, Cardano did not. Jumping over the Cardano chart real quick, that same timeline here in June, look at what it did. Right here, it just kind of came down to the same flat bottom it had before, whereas Ethereum created a brand new bottom. Bitcoin did the exact same thing. In fact, if I could go to a lot of different coins, you're going to see this big dip where we set a new bottom for this bear market. Cardano wasn't one of them. However, it's not Cardano leading the charge right now. Cardano's actually slightly stifled. It is moving up along with the rest of the space, and we'll talk about Cardano here in just a second, but it is Ethereum of the big and larger coins that seems to be on its way up. Now, the question is on Ethereum, what are some levels that we probably could start to say, all right, we're getting a little bit too overextended, or should we continue to be in a buy spot? The first thing, let's start with Lux Algo right here. So again, we've had a buy signal on Lux Algo now for a while that popped up just a couple days after a strong short position. So Ethereum actually is having a very good spot according to Lux Algo. Let me get rid of my percentage here real quick. But the take profits for that, there's not as much room between Bitcoin's take profits and where the price currently is, and Ethereum's. The bottom of this take profit is saying something around 16,500. The top of it is saying around 2,000. So this is something to keep an eye on. Now notice, remember I talked about on Bitcoin, We do not have a green trend catcher. We don't have green candles. We just have a buy signal. Well, Ethereum at the moment has all three of them. So for those of you who bought right here, I would have said this was the spot right here to get a really good purchase on Ethereum, according to Lux Algo. I know a lot of you are going to say, hey, Tim, why not the bottom? Those you know who have been experiencing the game, purchasing the bottoms perfectly is not the route you want to go for. You do want to wait for confirmation. So if you had bought right here, you would still be in a spot to make some money on Ethereum around $13,000. But Lux Algo is still saying that there is some room to the upside. The question is, do you jump in now? Like if you have not entered into an Ethereum investment or trade, do you jump in now or do you hold off? That is something that is called financial advice. So I'm not going to tell you what you should do with your money. I just want to show you on the charts what it is saying. Going off of Lux Algo, let's look at a couple other things. I want to pull up the VPVR. So this is going to be the volume profile range. And I talked about this on yesterday's show with Bitcoin, but let's go over here and look at Ethereum's as well. So you're going to see that while there was a strong level of resistance right here around $12,030, we broke through that on this news and have made it through a couple different layers. The next spot I am looking at right now, because we are coming back to this point, this little peak, you can't see it behind that little red thing right there, but there's a little peak on the VPVR. We're coming back, finding support right there. I do think the next level on Ethereum is going to be sitting right here around $18,000. Maybe as we start to peak up around the lower 17s, but the next strong level of resistance I'm seeing on the chart is this 1790 right here, 18,000. And you're going to notice that if I were to, put this line right across that same point, where's my flat line right there? Yes, there we go. If I were to put this line right here, look at the amount of price action happening right there. And the truth is what I could do is I could actually give it a little zone. If I take this same line and give us a little zone across, look at all the volume right in that action. That's when the volume starts to spike up. Even more so, if I were to scroll out and go to the past, over the last couple of years even, look at this point, this price point right in that zone. If you were to extend that zone all the way over, that is a key zone right there of reversals on Ethereum's chart. So am I saying that we're absolutely 100% going to reverse on that chart? No, that's not what I'm saying, but it is one to take a look at, that if Ethereum continues to rally, which I do think there's a good chance it will, that's going to be the zone to watch for a strong reversal. If we're able to break through there, I do think the next level matching back up to levels that we had back in May, around 2,100. That's a little higher than what Lux Algo is calling for at max profit, but it's kind of in the same zone. That's the next region for Ethereum. We'll talk more Ethereum news and we'll kind of speculate and talk a little more about what we think Ethereum's price is going to do. But on the charts at the moment, that is what I'm looking at. Real quick, I want to check the RSI. Yes, the RSI is up. It's not ready to call it just yet, but that's another reason to think that this zone could be pretty key, because look at when we were in this zone last time, how low the RSI is. And those of you who know about me and my technical analysis, you know I love looking at RSI divergences. We're sitting in very clear bearish RSI divergence territory right here. So unless we can break through this yellow zone, we will set up that bearish RSI divergence, which kind of corresponds with the VPVR and lets us know that's kind of a good reversal spot for now. Not saying it has to crash all the way back down into the 900s, maybe even crash down, closer to 800 or so. I'm just saying it's going to kind of cool off, come down a little bit, and it's time to regroup. That is what I have for Ethereum. Let's go and take my VPVR down for just a second. Probably will pop back up. Let's go to Cardano and look at what is happening on Cardano, because it is what we were talking about here just a second ago. So you guys will notice a couple things on Cardano. The first is, and it hasn't done it majorly, but we were in a falling wedge, and some people are going to say, Tim, this was a descending triangle. I'm calling a falling wedge, especially because of this little breakout we had right here. Anyone who does call this a descending triangle, you are more than fair in making that prediction, but especially with the bullish news we have coming out later this month, with the Vasil hard fork launching, and with the fact that if you were to correlate these points, let's see, I'm on the linear chart, so let me go back to the log, and you're going to see it a little better. There we go. You could make the regroup here. Descending triangle right here, but these price points, these closes on the daily chart kind of make more of a descending level of support, which is why I do have this as a falling wedge. Real quick thing about falling wedges is if you're trying to make a prediction based off of what you're looking at on the wedge, what you do is you take the length or the height of the opening. So I'm going to take this measurement right here. You then extrapolate this over to the breaking point. So we did break through our little falling wedge resistance right there. This, if it plays out fully, would give us an 80-cent Cardano. Now, I do think that that's going to take a little bit of time. This falling wedge has been in motion ever since back early May. So I'm not saying overnight Cardano's going to rally and break through these other levels of resistance. I do think, however, that 80 cents could still be very much on the table with that Vasil hard fork coming out, with the fact that Ethereum has been in the lead recently, but I would not be surprised to see Ethereum potentially cool off, which is getting very close to a cool off phase, and let Cardano kind of take the charge. But let's look at a couple different levels of resistance during this rally to keep in mind with Cardano. Let's go by over here and pull up our VPVR and look at the key levels just like we looked at with Bitcoin and Ethereum. The first one is we did smash through that massive level right there at about 46. That is where we've been hovering for a lot of this time ever since back in May. So that level breaking through with confidence and with closes, 2 closes now, is very good for Cardano. And you're noticing the higher we go, the easier it's going to get all the way up until we hit this middle point around 54 cents. And the next peak, it's not that high, is going to be somewhere around 55 cents. Breaking through both of those, I think 58 cents becomes another metric. It's not only that we're seeing a lot of volume there, this is a level of resistance we had, this area back here around 17th of May, so that's why I'm keeping my target on that. And then the last one, of course, is this top where we touched this level of resistance. It's one of our anchor points for this descending level of resistance around 64 cents, 63 cents. After that, if Cardano can rally, that is where that 80-cent Cardano comes into play because, look, there's just not a lot of things stopping us from reaching that 80-cent mark if we can break through 64. Now, I do think we had a lot of work to do Cardano. If you are holding Cardano, if you're kind of sitting here trading, it's not like there's just easy sailing up to 80 cents. There's definitely, like I said, 3 different key levels of resistance that I'm keeping my eyes on. However, with this bullish news of Vasil hard fork, with the fact that it's probably the biggest thing that Cardano's been working on, according to Charles Hoskinson himself, if it launches successfully, and we have a lot of reason to believe that when they launch things, when Cardano launches things, they do it the right way. I do believe momentum could happen to bring us back to that 80-cent mark. But again, I'm not saying this is going to happen within the next week or 2 weeks. This is probably a longer time play out to the 80-cent mark here over the next couple of months. That is all I have for technical analysis at this time. But make sure, guys, in the chat, in the comments, let me know what you guys want to see us do more on this show. And I'll make sure, even when Jebb is back, that we're doing a little bit more TA than just Bitcoin, because I know you guys love your Bitcoin TA, but you want to see it on the other charts as well. Let's go into some super chats, T-Shroom, and see what is happening in the space.
Yeah, there's not a ton, but we do have one. And that is from Elliot Locke, donated $5. Sending continued prayers for Jebb and family. Tim and gang are doing a great job. I saw a few peeps asking for Matic TA. Any new NFT videos coming? ?
Any new NFT videos? I don't know. I know that we're going to definitely have, I think I saw him in chat too, Crypto Vet. We know him as Harry. I think we're going to have Harry on the show very soon, and he'll be able to talk more about the NFT space. But I don't know. And T-Shroom, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Do we have anything on the docket to do some NFT stuff anytime soon?
We do not.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but I do know that we're trying to get in that space more. We're definitely going to be bringing some more NFT people. Let us know in chat and in the comments if there's any creator out there that you would love for us to interview on this show or on this channel to talk more NFT stuff. We'd be glad to do it.
Yep. And then had some peeps asking about Matic. Did you want to take a couple seconds to
Matic was one I was going to do some TA on. Let me go to it real quick. I don't want to spend too much time there because I want to get into our discussion section. But of course, Matic, I mean, people know Matic is the one. When we say Ethereum is kind of leading the charge, well, that's because Ethereum is one of the big dogs. If you were looking at, top 20 coins or top 50 coins, Matic is the one, riding that real big news from Disney. I would say, so even though you can go from the bottom right here back on June, but this is a rally we started before that Disney news came out. Anyone who invested in Matic back then is up over 200%. Great play there, but in all reality, I think the real significance is from that Disney news, in which case we'll probably can pull it to about somewhere in this region right here. It is up 85% since that Disney news came out. Just looking, let's look at the same things we were looking at over here. We broke through, first of all, this level of resistance way back here. This peak was the one that was kind of the midpoint, the hardship for Matic that it had to get through. Sure enough, we broke through it, and right now we are currently testing it. But this is a classic form of when you break resistance, when you break something that's really hard to get through. A lot of times the price does come back down and use former resistance as support. So anyone who's like, oh, why is today's candle red? I wouldn't worry about that too much. That is okay. That's actually a strength. That's actually a sign of strength. The next space we're going to look for is as we start to heat up over here in this region, as the volume starts to heat up around $1.36, $1.37, all the way up to this peak around $1.60. And again, that's asking for a lot, but at the same time, we've seen altcoins, smaller altcoins, make these outrageous runs. So I'm not counting Matic out, especially, I think that this is the time to do it. It's, with Ethereum 2 coming soon, but still being months away, Matic has a chance to actually make some moves in this market before that happens. What I could easily see, though, is almost like this, I hate to say it, but almost like this pump and dump type of scenario where people are so excited about ETH 2.0, but they realize that Matic and Polygon are doing some things. Maybe there's a pump in the price and then a massive take profit where we dip back down. I do think, though, that doesn't mean that Polygon's not a good tool and not a good project. It just is, it's going to take a little bit of a dip when ETH 2.0 comes out. It's just the nature of the game.
Yep. And then Elliot Locke also donating $5. Can you look at the EU to USD pair? I see bullish RSI divergence. Supposed to get a bonus. This pair will affect it. Love you guys and Smay. Great voice.
The EU USD?
Euro. EUR to USD.
EUR, okay. Yeah. EUR. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah.
Pulling down. I'm going to take down the VPVR real quick. Let's just look at what we got going. He said he saw bullish divergence.
Bullish divergence.
Let's pull up our RSI. Yep, sure enough, that's exactly what's happening here. And if you guys are wondering what he's talking about, look at these levels, these bottoms. Just in case you guys didn't know, we're going to give you a little tidbit of TA knowledge here that you could find over there in Club DeFi. When you're looking for bullish divergence, you're looking at bottoms. So RSI bottoms, price bottoms. If you're looking for bearish, you're looking at tops. So you guys are going to see there was a very slight increase on the bottoms of the RSI, but in the exact same timeline, we have the price going down. So this is a sign that as much as the euro has been losing on the dollar, and that's been very, very obvious, according to the charts and those who are trading it, they're going to look at this and say, hey, there's a 3-touch. This isn't just even a 2-touch bullish RSI divergence. That's a 3-touch. Those are a little bit more powerful. It might be time to start investing there. Although I'm not going to say, just like crypto, you want to pay attention to the fundamentals. Is the euro doing some fundamental things to strengthen their dollar the way that the U.S. is? Now, that's going to be really big here in about a week. Do we do something to strengthen our dollar? Meaning, do we raise interest rates by 75 basis points again? Or do we even go a full 100? Or we kind of stay dovish and go to 50, in which case the euro, I think at that point, fundamentally would have the fundamentals and the technical analysis to rally against the dollar. And I do think that probably will be a good move for crypto, but we'll have to wait about a week before we find that out.
Well, the EU comes out with their rate on Thursday, and it's supposed to be 25 basis point.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I think what the EU decides is really big too, but I think it's like there's like a two-part punch to that. What does the EU do, and then what does the US dollar? What does the Fed do?
Right. So absolutely. Well, that concludes our Super Chats.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you have not done it already, we got over 1,000 people. We almost had 1,100 people watching, 300 likes. We can get that number up absolutely for sure. So smash that like button. If you are new here, welcome. We love having you here. Consider subscribing to this channel and getting more TA and fundamental updates every single morning, every single afternoon. That is what we do here at the Crypto Jebb channel. Before we jump into our discussion, we have another sponsor for today's show, and that is, I forgot his name, Anthony Price of our CPA. This is something that I'm very, very excited about. It's something that I'm taking advantage of because I don't know if you guys have been following me now for a while. I've been doing a lot more trading this year than I did last year. Well, guess what's also happening this year that was not happening last year? And that is that the IRS is going to get a little bit more stingy. I think it has a ways to go before the IRS is really, really hardcore on making sure you're paying all your taxes, but I don't want to risk it. So having a good crypto CPA, not just a normal CPA, a good crypto CPA to help me calculate my taxes on my trades and also do some great financial planning so that I pay the government as little in taxes as I absolutely have to. This is something I'm taking advantage of, and I absolutely think you should as well. You can check out more information in the link down below because even if you're not really sure, you're just sitting on the fence, you can have a free 20-minute call with him and make sure you understand exactly what you're getting yourself into before you spend a single dime. Trust me, though, this is something you're definitely going to want to get. If you don't get it today, you're going to want it down the road. Give him a call. Check him out. Again, Anthony Price, Great CPA, link in the description below. Let's transition into our discussion, and that is, again, right now it's Ethereum. Ethereum is the big dog in crypto in the terms of the last week gains. So the first thing, let's cover why is it going up so fast? And we kind of covered this, but I'm going to throw it over to T-Shirt. What are your beliefs, and what is the reasons why Ethereum is growing so crazy right now?
Well, the merge is all over the news, and it's going well, right? Folks are anticipating this merge going well, and it has been clearly set out in a penciled-in timeline from one of the major ETH developers there, and that tweet has been circulated quite widely, and folks are reading that as a chance to get into Ethereum. And the other major bullish boost was from the Polygon and Disney collaboration that was announced. Obviously, that had an outsized positive impact on Polygon, but it also has bled into Ethereum as well. So it's kind of had this two force of bullishness coming into the space Ethereum has, and it's really been very positive for it, as you can see. And maybe we'll take a look at the CoinMarketCap charts just to kind of see how this has affected all of the other alts and perhaps caused a premature alt season in what is very uncharacteristic. You never see an alt season in the middle of a bear market. So, Tim, why don't you take a look over at CoinMarketCap?
Yeah, we're going over here to CoinMarketCap, and you're going to see there's a lot of, if we're just going to look at these last 7 days, and we're going to scroll through. First of all, you're going to notice a lot of green. Stable coins, a little red here. Don't let that confuse your eyeballs. The Bitcoin up over 11, Ethereum, this is the big thing, 45% for Ethereum. Whereas you're scrolling to others, you got Binance up 16, kind of a little bit above Bitcoin, but nowhere close to Ethereum. XRP's up 16, Cardano's up 14, almost 15. Solana, the other big gainer, 37%, 10% from Doge, 20% from Polkadot. Then this is the big one, Polygon Matic. And by the way, that number 12 right there, the ranking of Polygon has shifted drastically. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember having to scroll down here closer to 20 here a couple weeks ago to go check out what was happening with Matic. It is, of course, the one that's bigger than Ethereum at 62%, but of course, with it being a layer 2 solution, that's going to be closely tied. AVAX, the other big one, up 41%, but you guys get my point that Ethereum being up big, I think that this is kind of, as T-Shroom kind of said, kind of led to a premature little alt rise and a little alt season. Not that I think the bull market's about to launch and we're going back to all-time highs with all these coins, but a little mini bull pump I do think was sparked with that Matic and Ethereum news. And then again, so that Disney news came out, and then 2 days later, the merge news with the very, I think the other thing that's significant, T-Shroom, about this merge news is we've heard for a long time now, hey, the merge is coming, the merge is coming. They've given us dates time after time. However, this time, it sounds like there's just one more step between us and ETH 2.0, and it sounds like they actually have a good grasp on getting that handled. So is a September Ethereum 2.0 launch 100% finalized? No, it is not. But it is getting closer than ever, and I do think that gets people excited. So let's see if they can follow through.
Yeah, let's see. And what I want to do now, though, is just remind folks of the headwinds. So if you come over to my screen, you'll see, first of all, let's take a look over at the 90-day or the 90-day percentage. And so you can see Bitcoin down 47%, Ethereum still down 50% on the 90-day. In fact, the only coins that are green are the stable coins, and Tether isn't even, but that's beside the point. And Tron is actually the only one that is up on the 90-day percentage. And so that shouldn't be discouraging, because we understand the fundamentals of crypto are sound, at least of most coins, but or some coins, I should say, not most coins, some coins. But what we do want to remember is the bearish headwinds that have caused this bear season and this bear cycle in general. And that is primarily the Fed, the Federal Reserve, doing their rate hiking here, and that has caused loans and money to just be more expensive. So the velocity of money is lowered, and higher risk assets are becoming less and less attractive as time goes on. And right now, we're just seeing a test of that truth, which is this little rally here, not just in crypto, but also in the equities markets. So there's that headwind. And then there's also the headwind of all of the bankruptcies, right? Thinking of Celsius and thinking of Three Arrows Capital and Voyager and a few others, right? That is going to continue to be a big dark cloud over the crypto space. So really the question comes down to, Tim, and I know we don't give financial advice, but is this a time where you're thinking of buying? Is this the time where you're thinking of taking a big chunk into crypto?
Well, I mean, so if my DCA strategy, which by the way, I'm not DCAing this week, that's not on my calendar. If it was a DCA week, I would, because that is I don't care what the price is. I'm going to go ahead and jump in there. But if you're talking about, am I entering a trade that I'm not already entered in? And by the way, I'm not in any trades right now. And you could say I missed the boat. And guess what? I have learned through a lot of success and failure. If you miss the boat on a trade, just hold off. It is way better to watch the boat sail away from you and you keep your current amount of money than it is to jump on it late and it turns out the boat was just heading back towards the dock. So right now when I'm looking at the charts, I mean, I did that TA for you guys earlier. I think Ethereum is getting a little close to where we're going to see some stern resistance. Is there money to be made right there? Absolutely. I think that somebody who's doing leverage trading and is good at it and has experience, I think that they're going to squeak some more money out of this Ethereum, a little pump. I don't trade with leverage. I'm giving myself, just so you guys know, I started at the beginning of this year, some more intense trading. And I said at the beginning, I'm not going to differ from it. I'm going to give myself a good year of profitable trading, just trading one-to-one. And if I like where I'm sitting, I'll start taking some risks here in 2023. That's just me being conservative. So at the moment, when I'm looking at the charts, I'm saying there's really not enough margin in that for me to risk my trade and to enter in. And because, even though I'm looking at the charts and there's still a lot of bullish stuff here, and I think Ethereum's going up, I think Bitcoin's going to go up a little bit, I think Cardano's going to go up. There's still a risk. I mean, it could turn around right now and start dropping. So every single trade I enter, I kind of wager that risk to reward ratio, and there's just not enough reward in the market for me to enter a trade. Not saying that nobody else can do it. Again, especially leverage traders, they can find ways to make a lot of money out of like a 0.5% increase. You don't even need that much to make money in that case, but that's just not my game. And if you want to go to my chart here real quick, Smay, the other reason why is because right now I think people are really excited. Like we said, Ethereum's up 60% within the last 6 days. That doesn't mean the bear market's over necessarily. And if you guys were to come back here into the history, let's go back to the bear market that we had back in 2018. Look at these two little pullbacks during the bear market where Ethereum actually had massive gains. So right here, we rallied up 100% here within a couple of weeks. I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Within 5 weeks, we rallied 110% before dropping another after we hit that mark. Let me go ahead and move that one over for you. We then ended up dropping 90% from that second peak. Then after that, the bear market, even though this ended up being the bottom, we had a massive little rally here where we went more than 100%. We actually ended up rallying 350% with Ethereum, but then we dropped back down to, even though the bottom ended up being around $82, we did drop back down to around $91. So just because we have these rallies does not mean it's over. So I'm not going to necessarily say this is exactly what it is, but let's play pretend here for just a second. And let's pretend that this rally is going to end up looking like, let's pretend we were right here and we do have a little bit ways to go up. Why would I buy in right here and just get this little bit of opportunity when I could wait and it's going to dip back down and I can buy here at a lower level and prepare for this bull market? Again, not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm trying to make a point though, is that if you are looking at what we're currently doing, let's go back to the daily chart real quick. If I'm looking at this as my reversal zone, somewhere between 17,000 and 18,000, and I'm sitting so close to it right now, around 15,000. I only have, let's say I played this exactly perfectly, purchasing right now. I could gain, 14%. That's actually not a bad trade, but there's just no guarantee of that. And then this market ends up dipping back down to 1,900, maybe even lower. I mean, there's no guarantee we don't go lower to around 800, 700. Why would I do that and risk that happening to my portfolio? I'm going to go ahead and just say, hey, the boat sailed for now. If it comes back to the dock, I'll jump on it next time. Again, this whole rally, as much as I love it, it was based a lot of fundamentals. Fundamentals will continue to be bullish. I'm going to wait and see the next route and see the next rally time, and I'll jump in then.
Yeah.
I hope that made sense because, I was trying to bounce the charts and also do the reasoning. The other thing, just so you guys know, I'm not saying that I have no money in Ethereum right now. Guess what? All the money I've DCA'd over the last 2 years in Ethereum, it goes up every time the price goes up. It sinks every time the price sinks. So it's not like I'm not making money from this Ethereum pump. Now, I've lost a lot of money from the Ethereum downfall. But right now, my trading portfolio and my holding portfolio are two different portfolios. One of them is making money and one is waiting for a good opportunity that I haven't seen yet. So, that wraps up my thought there on that price action.
Absolutely. And so when is the all clear going to be on this bear market? That's kind of the question. Of course, nobody knows for sure. I'm sure you're tired of hearing that. But what we're looking for is when the Fed will reverse its policy or cut its policy down to 50 or 25 basis points and just kind of let it ride there. That would be an indication of a major reversal. And then also if there's a couple other things that would make a major reversal that we're looking for. But until that time, you have to assume a bearish bias to the market. And so if you're trading or if you're investing, you have to be able to endure that. You have to be able to grit your teeth and carry on. But the best way to control your emotions is to never get into a trade that you're going to feel bad about in the first place.
Yes.
And that's different from DCAing. So we're really looking, to just be reminded that we are in a bear market, and although Ethereum is pumping right now on some pretty solid fundamental news with the Disney Polygon merger partnership and the merge that is looking like it's actually going to happen, you have to remember that is a pump. It is not necessarily a reversal. It's not necessarily the signal of the end of the bear market. I don't think that Ethereum is going to be what signals the end of the bear market. It's going to be a pattern in Bitcoin. In my own opinion, I think that would be shared by most traders. But yeah, Tim, what do you think? Do you think that Bitcoin or Ethereum is going to be what's going to signal the end of the bear market?
I actually think there's some historical precedents to say it will be an altcoin push that probably signals the bottom of it. I do think that Bitcoin can still gain a little bit more dominance. However, I think we'll know the bear market is over when we start seeing altcoins outpace Bitcoin. And that's why I think the pump that we're seeing right now, again, going through that coin market cap right now, Bitcoin's up 11%, and then you got Ethereum 45, you got Binance 16. Almost every single altcoin is outpacing Bitcoin now, save for Dogecoin within the top 20. And I think that's going to be a very tempting sign, and why some people are going to think that the bottom's already in, because this is one of the signs. Like this is a sign of a bullish momentum coming back when all the altcoins are outpacing Bitcoin. I just think this one is still a fake out. I don't think that we've heard enough from the Fed. Even let's say the Fed does come out and say 50 basis points here next week, right? I think that will bring more money into the whole space. I think it'll bring money into Bitcoin. I think it'll bring money into the altcoins. I think we'll see a rally, right? Part of me is, in the same way our dips, we had price worked in with that CME futures prediction you're looking at right there at T-Shroom. Part of me is like, hey, is some of this rally pricing in that the Fed is going to come out a little bit dovish and only go 50 basis points? That does not mean here, and what's the next one? I know that sometimes they take a month off. So we're going to get a number here in July. Are we going to get another August report, or do we have to wait for September before we get the next Fed? Well, all right. I hope people can hear us. Stream,
we're back.
Cut out on us. I don't know what happened there.
Are we back, Smay?
Should be back now.
Okay.
It looks like we are.
But yeah, so don't go to my screen quite yet.
I think he's on your screen already.
Okay, no worries. So it'll be. So sorry, we had some technical difficulties there, but we were talking about what the future dates of the FOMC dates decisions will be. And that's going to be the 27th of July, the 21st of September, and the 2nd of November, and the 14th of December. So you do skip a month there.
That right there is really big. The fact that we're going to have these numbers, and they're being predicted at 50 basis points, and that we're not going to have another rate hike until
September.
I said that correct. Until September, 2 months. There is some room. There is some room if we get that 50 basis points to have a good couple of months in the crypto space. Because here's the thing that people need to remember, and I've seen people say before, wait, I thought you guys said that Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. So why, when we have inflation numbers coming out, is it not hedging? Here's the thing you need to remember. It is a hedge against inflation. And watch what happened when we're not getting these massive inflation numbers because of what is happening right now. We're getting these massive inflation numbers because of what happened 2 years ago, a year ago. And so when was Bitcoin climbing? a year ago. Like that, though everything we were doing 2 years ago, a year ago, Bitcoin has been climbing ever since. It was forming as a hedge against inflation. What we're seeing right now is all the numbers come out high, and then we see the Fed responding to it. So when we see things like getting aggressive when the first time with that 50 basis point, and then the second time they came out with 75 basis point, and there's thoughts that maybe we'll come out with 100 basis point, that thought of giving power back to the dollar to curb inflation explains perfectly why crypto is going down, Bitcoin is going down. Because right now, what the government's working on is to fix inflation. It's when inflation is getting out of control, which happened over a year ago, is when we're going to see crypto kind of come out bullish. So if the Fed comes out here with 50 basis points, even though 50 basis points is high, they're getting more dovish. I think that would give the precedence. We're going to have that firm number for the next 2 months. We're going to see inflation climb, and then whether the government wants to report that it's climbed or not, people are going to watch the food get more expensive, the gas get more expensive. You're going to see things get more expensive. You know, you're going to say, oh my gosh, the US dollars continue to become more worthless each and every single day. And I do believe that will push people into things, into crypto space, into commodities, into the stock market, which is, again, going to kind of lead us into that October, November date of where we probably might hit a bottom. We might have one more good crash, and then it's going to kind of start leveling out and going back to the upside. But that's the reason why. Like I think that we could have some bullish months if we stay dovish with that prediction of 50 basis points. I think that we're going to stay almost up high. I don't think we'll see another crash down until we get maybe some more information that says, oh no, the government's going to come back in September with a 100 basis point increase or even higher, which would be kind of crazy.
Yeah. And then we'll start to see not only Bitcoin and Ethereum start to come back up, but we'll also see some of those tokens from like lending platforms and different yield farming platforms that, you know, those have also taken a giant hit, but they're not covered as much. Things like Cake, like Aave, you know, they're not covered as much because they're so far down on the coin market cap list. But you know, if you've kept your funds in those yielding farms, you know, you've been rewarded. Not yet, because the price is still down extremely low.
Yeah.
But you've been accumulating those coins, and you'll be rewarded more than likely. So so yeah, Tim, that's also something to consider.
Well, yeah, we're gonna keep you guys posted on all of this as it comes out, because again, I couldn't remember if it was August or September they skipped. So that's really big. The fact that next week will be the last time we get an increase to our interest rate before September is really big, especially with that prediction sitting squarely right now at 50 basis points. Still a lot of time for that to change. That's not a final, you know, that prediction doesn't guarantee anything, but let's keep our eyes on that the rest of this week, and that could have massive impact. That, and I think continuing to develop what's happening over there with Ukraine and Russia. I know, you know, it seems like that doesn't get talked about as much, but that still has effects on the entire global economy, including crypto. So let's keep our eyes on those two things over the next couple of months to determine when that bull market will happen. But I do think, wrapping last point before we jump into our price predictions for Friday, I do think one of the signs of the bull market coming back historically has been the altcoins start to rush and outpace Bitcoin. Again, that's what we're seeing right now. I just don't think this is the official one yet, because there's too many other big things happening all over the rest of the space. I think this one's gonna rally, have a little bit of fake out, come back down to earth, and then maybe the next one. We'll see. We'll have to. I don't want to say the last one because you never know, but hopefully this is the last fake out, major fake out of this kind of magnitude, and then the next one will be the start.
Yep.
With that being said, it is Tuesday. So on Tuesdays, we make our Bitcoin Friday price predictions. What that means is we have a little game every single Tuesday. The three of us here compete with each other in a little game to see who can get closest to the Bitcoin price of Bitcoin at 10:55 Eastern Standard Time. This is not financial advice. Please do not use these numbers as any type of trading or investing tools. It is simply a competition with us that we love to do and you guys love to engage with and kind of pick your champion for that week. So with that being said, T-Shroom won last week, so T-Shroom gets to go first. I was the winner the week before him, so I get to go second. And then Smay, you get to bat cleanup. So T-Shroom, what is your prediction for Friday's Bitcoin price?
My prediction is 21,500.
What are we sitting at right now? 22.5. So you think we're gonna have a dip of about 1,000 here over the next couple of days?
Yeah.
It's an interesting point. That's a very tempting one, because even though I think a rally could happen, that doesn't mean we won't dip before it. Whew, man, now I gotta pick. I gotta stay with the 500 of that one.
You better be careful there, Tim.
Yeah, I don't want to trap myself.
Be careful.
I'm going to say on Friday, we will be sitting at 22.5. I'm going to go 1,000 over you and say 22.5.
All right.
What about you, Smay?
T-Shrimp, say yours again.
21.5.
21.5. You said 22.5.
22.5.
I'm gonna say 20.
Wow. You go deep. Going deep.
Yeah,
that would be so. If Smay is right, I mean, I'm not going to say he's wrong. Go to my chart real quick, just so you guys know. A 22.5 sitting kind of pretty close to where we are currently. You know, because I'm going to expect we're going to come back down and go back up. 21.5. T-Shrimp's kind of predicting we're going to kind of have a dip back down to around this region right here before we rally. Smay, it's not a bad prediction, Smay, because that would put us kind of down closer to the bottom of this bear flag. I don't like that because if we come all the way down. And then we have a decision point where we have to decide do we want to break this and go ahead and start our descent, which I don't think there's a lot of fundamentals there to say that necessarily, or do we bounce back up and then end up rallying later? All of those predictions, I'm going to say, guys, that those are all three good predictions. But chat, let us know whose team you are on this week. You got T-Shroom, the reigning champion, sitting at $21,500. You got Tim, who has the greatest amount of wins within the last 2 months, sitting at 22.5, and then you got everyone's favorite Turtle King and favorite Bear, because you've been bearish every single week for the last 3 months, at 20,000.
Tim, it is a bear market.
I know,
so...
but when was your last W? You know,
I won 2 weeks ago.
Okay, good. When was your last one before that one?
I think the week before that.
That's not true because I won for 3 weeks in a row before that.
Well, I've won.
Anyway, you know,
hold on, just so you know, I've won a good amount the last month. All
okay.
Right? So
I think we should go back and do some history, but it's all right, Smay.
I've got a little bonus here before we close out.
Yeah.
If you go to my screen, it's something we haven't covered in a little while. This is the Fear and Greed Index is at 30. And yesterday it was at 20, and the week before it was at 16, and last month it was at 6. So I don't.
Is that what right now?
30.
Yep.
So we have really, really recovered in the Fear and Greed Index space. I think a little bit of that is because of the dust settling very quickly with Voyager, and the dust is now starting to settle with Three Arrows Capital and Celsius as they're cooperating in the courts. So I think that fear is being reduced there. Also, you're seeing a rise. You're seeing a rally in prices as they're bouncing off that support there and kind of trying to find new local highs. So I think that 30 number makes a lot of sense. What did you think about that, Tim?
We'll have to cover that in another video because it is 11 o'clock. We got to wrap it up here. But before I go, I want to remind each and every one of you, because we forgot to announce it yesterday, and we're going to try to remind you every Monday of this, how much we really do love you guys. And we're just thinking as a team, what is a way that we can minister and love on you guys even more? So we have a prayer wall here at our company. So if you have any prayer requests whatsoever, and you email that to support@cryptojebb.com, it goes up on the wall, and one of our team members ends up taking that card and praying for you all week. And so that I would definitely say, guys, email us anything that you would love some prayer over, even if you're not a Christian, you just want someone to be thinking with you and there with you. We're going to be there with you guys all through it. And again, if you guys have a prayer wall at home, please continue to keep Jebb on that chart, on that wall, because him and his family definitely are needing it. With that being said, though, guys, that's all we have for you here on this Tuesday Coffee and Crypto Live. We will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.